is Gift of Rosemary. And, I go through a lot of messages throughout the day, even when I'm driving, especially when I'm driving, because I do try to work out messages in my mind. Um, and not only messages, but situations I go through. Spiritual people go through stuff as well. And we don't talk on it. And it's not through lack of uh, like for embarrassment. It's not through lack of trust. Excuse my dog, Lucky. Um, it has more to do with being able to trust and turn to your higher self. Don't get me wrong. I eventually do open up to people. I just try to work it out on my own first, because if I have something go wrong and I immediately run and tell someone, they're going to see my angered version of the situation. And it could be biased, because when we're angry, we're hurt. And we do feel like, we are the victim, and which we could have been, but we could be also the victim of our own demise. Um, so, at any rate, that is why I do my best not to um, speak on it immediately. And it's not that I don't speak on it at all, I just try to work it out mentally. More recently, I have encountered a lot of people, a lot of my collective, that are going through similar situations as me um, when it comes to romance. So I kind of wanted to speak on that. I wanted to speak on it because sometimes we go and look for advice in the wrong areas. We're searching for, a tarot reader to give us a message. We're searching for um, messages just online and that we can relate to. And sometimes they're anger fueled messages, sometimes they're depressive fueled messages. Just know when you engage with those, like, you add fuel to your soul for that purpose. So if it's angered, you add more anger. If it's depressed, you add more depression. So we really need to learn how to be wary of how we communicate our hurt and pain, um, how we communicate our situation, because everyone's situation is going to be different. There may be an overall same theme, but it's going to be completely different. I have an individual whose romantic interest, mother had passed away. And then I have another individual whose romantic interest, mother is just cold and unbearable. I have another one who their romantic interest, mother is cut off from their life. Just be very wary over how you receive your messages and how you apply them to your life, because everyone's situation is different. Every situation is going to be handled differently. This is why I don't like hearing people say, oh, well, cut them off. Because if that's not part of your mission, why are you going to cut them off? If that's not part of your ascension, why are you going to do that? Because so and so said so online, or because you read a quote that said it? We need to really take time to separate reality with social media. Okay. The reality of a lot of people's situation is going to be different. These three individuals had, their romantic part. The theme was mother issues, but some that can't solve them with their current mother, present mother. Also, they were younger than their female counterparts. That was another theme that they held, exactly the same. But one person had, 30 years of marriage under their belt. Another person had multiple marriages they had been through. So, female counterparts. So just be mindful. I guess that's what my message is for today. Be mindful who you turn to for advice, where you turn, and how you add that to your soul. How you add other people's learning experience to your life. Because again, different contexts, different variables. In science, it's going to go like that too. You can have oxygen with hydrogen, and then titanium and copper. There's going to be a different reaction. Although the theme is hydrogen and oxygen, the other elements are a little bit different. So you're going to have a different reaction. You're going to have a different counter reaction. So just keep that in mind. I love science, so I do like to not only think of things in a spiritual aspect, but also in a science aspect. My most recent romantic interest was actually very grounded and actually encouraged my intelligence. And, I never had my intelligence encouraged or was acknowledged for being smart. I was always looked at as a threat to my romantic interests in the past because of it. There were two individuals from Atlanta that encouraged my intelligence as well. So, and I think that's why when I had met this romantic part or interest of mine, I don't want to say partner, it was part of my request, of my manifestation. I wanted someone to encourage my intelligence and to not be threatened by it and to not, shut me down because of it. They shut me down for other reasons. My emotional intelligence takes time to adapt. And it's not that I'm dumb, obviously. It's not that I'm dumb. I just have a very loving heart, and I have a very redemptive, loving heart. And I look at everything as, I need to forgive and I need to let go. And then there are parts of me, the ungrounded, the unhealed parts of me that are like, no, F you. F you and your whole family too. So at any rate, I do struggle with that. And that's, I struggle with depression. I'm in my mind. I'm in my thoughts a lot. And then when that romantic interest is kind of playing with your mind and thoughts, it doesn't help. But at any rate, I will give him that much credit. I will acknowledge that. It is the only right thing to do. I think if we recognize the parts that we play in people's lives and we realize, not everyone's situation is the same, and that's okay. So be mindful of where you look for advice. Be mindful of where you look for support, because not everyone is grounded enough to say what you need to hear. Not what you want to hear, okay? What you need to hear. Because then you can have people who are interested in you romantically and they're going to give you biased advice, or they're your best friends and they're going to give you biased advice. So just be mindful on where you collect your advice from when you are on the internet, what postings you kind of invest in, repost, agree with. I have found myself, again, it takes me time, but I get there. It takes me time, but I mentally and emotionally stabilize myself. Immediately, it's not. It's more of a trigger. It's a childhood trigger. It's a threat. It's a pride thing. It's a lot of things, and I recognize them, and I'm trying to change them, and I hope you guys do too. And I hope this message resonates with you. Whether you are female or male, however you identify as, I just hope it does resonate, and I hope you are mindful. Have a great day.